How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Anthony Edwards went crazy tonight, and we're going to break it down. He is fascinating this year. He's playing at an extremely high level and doing it in an interesting way. So let's break it all down. Like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. Thank you all for the support. And we're going to start this with a miss that I think is an instructive miss because it definitely looks like Edwards is playing with more control and a more deliberate pace this season than he has in the past. Like, I would assume he's a pretty good defender. I want to give Io credit for sure, but Ant is working on this deceleration, and we will continue to get to that. And he's going to end up just like missing that little offensive rebound type shot, but nothing crazy, of course, there. Io is a nice defensive player. I do think that's good, but the pull-up three-point shooting is the thing that we're going to really be looking at with Anthony Edwards these days. Like, he is a pull-up machine, and it's obviously always been like a mid-range thing for him. Like, he's always been able to fall back on that mid-range pull-up. He is so controlled these days now, though. Like, really good job working with the Gobert screen, snaking back to his spot, elevating. And like I said, Dosunmu is a good defender, but Edwards is just one of those guys who can get to whatever spot he wants, whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And I think the process of getting to his shots in that way is really impressive. But yeah, he's just scorching from three this year, and obviously he's excellent at the rim too. And this is scary. This is really scary shit. Like, Anthony Edwards learning how to play slow like this, slowing himself down, long step decelerations, like that's the shit Luka does and Shea. This is scary for a player of Anthony Edwards' athleticism to be able to do, and man, has it been cool to watch. And he busted it out in this game, just in an ISO pull up. Of course, he can do all that, like, and one ball is life mixtape Hooper stuff. He's Anthony Edwards. He's always going to have that kind of stuff in him. And this was a kind of a BS assist for Ant, but I include this just to say that Randall has been pleasant this year for Minnesota. Like, still has his faults for sure as like a defender, especially, but like his secondary creation is advertised. And I think Ant and him have kind of a better synergy than I maybe thought. I do think the Gobert-Randall synergy is still questionable, but he really is a nice release valve for Edwards, who, again, when he's on, when he's making his tough shots, when he's getting to the rim like that, is just a really damn good basketball player who, yes, has his limitations in the playoffs, yada yada, but is still just, yeah, a good-ass player. Oh my God, Anthony Edwards. The deceleration, this is new. This is not something that Edwards has been doing in the past couple years, and it is terrifying, to be perfectly honest, to have someone with Anthony Edwards' level of explosion and power be able to slow it down in the way that he is right now, and of course, right, just like glide to the rim whenever he wants. And his handle is, I feel like his handle is always going to be a little like loose and kind of fluid. That's just kind of how he is as a dribbler. And the ball control isn't going to ever be perfect, I don't know, but still, like, it's good enough to get Io on the behind the back, just hangs in the air, finishes. He is always been such an overwhelming athlete, and that's only greater now that he's becoming a better player everywhere else. And really nice basic assists. He's not passing as much this year, but still can do this basic two-man stuff, draws Vucevic up, quick lob pass up to Gobert. Gobert is obviously a nice lob target when he's catching the ball and when he's putting it in like he should be. Did I accidentally have this twice? I did accidentally have this twice. How mean and rude of me. And the Timberwolves are able to make a comeback in this game very much because of Anthony Edwards and his ability to, again, change speeds is really, really impressive. Just boom, that explosion there is crazy. Just that little change of speed in the paint, and then slows down, stops on a dime, Euro steps around Vucevic, like just doing ridiculous, like, top 10 player in the league level stuff. And even like, I have way fewer qualms about his decision making this year than I feel like I did last year or the year before. Like, it still isn't crazy great, and there's playmaking holes, but because of how crazy of a scorer he is, like, he's getting to the spot, right, uses his shoulder to bump off Io, hop step, and like hangs in the air to finish right there. Ant is just kind of getting to wherever he wants and doing whatever he wants, which is the sign of what high-level offensive initiators do, right? And yeah, the pull-up shooting is absurd. And yeah, you can argue, like, early in the clock, maybe he shouldn't have taken just a pull-up three, but when you're shooting 45% on these, on threes, like, you get to do that. This is the pull-up three-point attempt leaders in the NBA. Anthony Edwards is 6th in attempts, which is crazy. Just for comparison, last year, Anthony Edwards, I believe, was at 4.5, which is 2 fewer attempts. And Edwards is also smoking. He is white hot on these shots. Like 42.6% on pull-up threes is crazy. And it really is unfair when Edwards, who has such a dominant and overwhelming rim pressure, can drain pull-up threes at the level he is right now. It's just not fair for the vast majority of players. And another just little Julius Randle moment, him as a release valve. It's nice to have another guy like that. I mean, this is an area where I think Randle is better than Cat when it came to this like isolation, self-creation from multiple spots in the perimeter. Like Cat definitely had that like off the catch shooting stuff and could drive as a secondary and in the post, but Randle is a driver. Like it's hard for teams to send guys at Anthony Edwards the way they want to at times because of Randle and because of what he can do as a scorer. So I do think he deserves some flowers for what he's done this year. And Anthony Edwards is just becoming a more and more intelligent shooter as well. Like this is a really great play that I don't know if Anthony Edwards makes as a rookie, right? Like Randle running in transition, and he could just stay at the top of the key, but he's going to run with Randle to make his passing window way, way easier and get himself a pretty wide open three that he ends up nailing. And man, just this fourth quarter, Anthony Edwards takes the hell over. He takes over. And Edwards, yeah, just launching these pull-up threes, and his pull-up three volume is absurd. Like, Edwards is shooting 11 threes per 75. That's in the 97th percentile. That's a huge jump from the rest of his career. And his rim attempts are way down. This is a huge drop from his last season. Under 50th percentile in rim attempts, which I've definitely seen some concerns about, like his process and spamming so many threes as opposed to getting downhill. But he is having the most efficient season of his career on the highest scoring volume of his career. And I do think there's some regression at some point, right? There's going to be a regression at some point. But as long as Ant is shooting like this, I have no problems with him shooting like this. And the playmaking is good right now. And you can see they send like the kind of blitz-ish at Anthony, blitz-ish with Vooch at Anthony Edwards. Makes the simple pass over top to Gobert, who dunks all over Kobe White. Like, he doesn't have to make crazy passes because he has a lot of gravity and because his teammates are good and because he has like a pretty good offensive system around him, which just obviously he is the focal point. But this is I don't care that Anthony Edwards is taking 11 threes a game because he didn't forget how to win at the rim. Like, I think Anthony Edwards has earned the benefit of the doubt at this point that he can evolve and adapt, and you know, when push comes to shove and shit hits the fan, like he can just go one-on-one, use his burst to get all the way to the rim. Like, it's so easy and not subtle for these threes that he might not necessarily need to take, right? Like, I think that like the skill doesn't go away, but I think Edwards getting these reps as a pull-up shooter is really scary. Like, 'cause if he can stay like even around like high 30s%, like as a pull-up shooter, like just making crazy shots like this, then I this is just going to be crazy, like him spamming threes and the kind of impact he can have and the way he can warp defenses. And it really is looking like Edwards could be one of the best players and scorers in the NBA. Like, I maybe even a little lower than some on Edwards in the past, and he honestly keeps proving my doubts wrong pretty much. I am constantly impressed by his ability to improve and adapt, and like I think that the jump he made on defense a couple years ago is really, really impressive, and just his willingness to like make changes in his game, to experiment, to work through stuff. He's still so young, and he's just one of the most fun players in the league to watch as well. So hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy watching the Wolves this year. They're really, really fun.